So there's a big rainstorm coming, like one of those big rain dumps, so I'm going to start emptying the rain system. And change the water in the bird bath. I'm just going to fill this and water it a couple times. I won't drain it completely because this is sort of like I have to capture this and most of this gets splashed out anyway. But might as well not waste it. So, having some issues with the potato plants. They're getting too tall. If we had double-sized bags, we'd be fine. But I think I might have to stake them. Dill is doing great. I saw this big caterpillar, which I learned is some sort of swallowtail butterfly. So he's living in here somewhere. I've not, when I put him back, so I wasn't able to find him. I don't know how long the pupation period is for, but I imagine he's living in here somewhere. Well, I'll look here for a bit, and if anyone sees it, let me know in the comments. Sweet potato is doing great. I've trained it to go up the fence. So if I grew sweet potato along the fence line, then I could have it all covered by it. And it's pretty easy to pull back. You can see maybe there's a couple that are sticking out. That's not horrible. So we got some ferns that have come back for a couple of years. Pretty happy with them. And I had gotten these 3 seedlings from the new Kingston West Market. So I think that says Zatar oregano on the left. The middle is Thai basil. And on the right, it's a curly parsley. And they've been doing really good, actually. And there's quite a difference in taste between the Thai basil and like the regular sweet basil. Basil, pesto pasto. And that's doing pretty good too, the curly basil. Sunflowers are doing great. So we were having an issue with the rabbits eating the tops of the sunflowers, and they've come back, but the good old chicken wire has completely kept them up, and we plugged a hole in the fence. Nasturtiums are doing great. We have lots of little flowers. Thinking maybe for supper tonight we can have some nasturtium. I haven't seen any seed pods yet on the sunflower, but I expect any day now. Really happy that this is the 3rd or 4th year asparagus, and now that I know how to care for asparagus, I'm really excited about this cluster. The blackberries are doing great. It's neat to see the whole stages of life. The only one we don't have there is maturing, but I have some on the other side because they get more sun. So our cilantro worked so good this year. We're still eating it. It's just getting stronger and stronger, and then we're letting stuff go to seed, and then I guess the powder of the seed is coriander. Sage is great. Sage in the sage. Onions have done a great job defending the tomatoes and peppers. The stakes on the tomatoes, although unwieldy on a ladder, it definitely works. Next year what I'm going to do is I'm going to essentially dig a post hole and then put the post in and use some of the clay and then just put some dirt on top instead of trying to. I was like, these are like 8-foot poles. I was on a ladder with the sledge. It was annoying. And here's our sweet basil, and it's done so well. We've harvested it a couple times, and now we've got some really nice low FA value, I think it's what it's called, olive oil from Kingston Olive Oil Company. And we're gonna see about preserving the basil in different ways. Some of it like making cubes of oil and basil. Some of it's trying to infuse the basil. The tomatoes are doing great. We've had some green tomatoes already and put them in a recipe. They turned out great. And nothing red yet. Usually our tomatoes suffer from blight on the bottom, and haven't seen any blight yet, fingers crossed. The peppers are doing great. We have 2 kinds and we don't know which is which. We thought it was the shape of the plant, but we have 2 kinds of peppers. One, I think it's the sweet, right? They're like bigger and chunkier and they'll grow fairly large. And then the other is hot. So see, it's a little bit sharper. And we thought it might have been size, but I do recall that these were ones that we planted later. They were all grown at the same time, but just planted differently in the greenhouse. Cucumbers, so our hope is to pickle, I think, as many of the cucumbers as possible.